My name's Pereira, and I train here at Brethren CrossFit. This is my story. Before CrossFit, I was miserable, living in a body that I felt like didn't match my inside. I was weighing 270 pounds, and everything was impossible. Everything was difficult, just every day going up the stairs. I was truly unhappy. Well, I always looked at myself and thought, everybody would say, oh, you have such a pretty face, and, if only you would lose weight, and, I felt helpless. I couldn't do it. It just seemed absolutely impossible, like I'd look in the, magazines and, think there's just no way I could ever get like that, and, I didn't think it was possible, not at all. I was going to be that big fat person for the rest of my life. That's what I thought. So I was already over 200 pounds when I got here. And I remember doing the Prowler Mile with a team, and Lee running along the side, running or riding a bike, I can't remember, and him telling somebody, is she going to be okay? Is she going to be okay? I mean, I was a nightmare. But I remember when I came in, I said, Lee, I'll never finish first, but I'll always finish strong. And I just knew it was something that I wanted, and I was going to get it. And, it's made me so much more secure in myself, like that whole cliche, you can't love yourself, you can't love somebody else unless you love yourself. And, I'm just a happier person. I'm positive. And when people tell you you can do anything you want to do, I truly believe it now, because I came here at 240 and now I'm at 177. My first mile back then was like 12 minutes, and now I'm at 10 minutes, and I could do a pull-up, toes to bars. I got that finally, and just milestones after milestone, and just...
How does that make you feel?
Oh my God, I feel like I just started my life. I just started my life, and I'm just so, honestly, I'm proud of myself for sticking around, like being 240 pounds and jumping around when you are seriously surrounded by nothing but beautiful people. And I feel like I'm making myself that way, so it's more meaningful, and I never thought of myself as being an inspiration, but now I feel like if I could do it, anybody could do it. It's like a family, and I don't know how many times that people come to me and say, I was sitting in bed and I didn't feel like going to CrossFit, then I thought about you, and I thought how you show up every day, and there's times where I'm struggling and I can't get these things done, and they're right there, screaming at me, you can do it, and think about where you came from, and I feel so supported.
Easy does it. Touch and go. There you go. You got a 2-pack. Good job, Christine.
I am 34, and I keep making a joke, like I'm going to be in the Masters, like I'm going to compete in the Masters. I have all this time to get really good, and I've obviously passed the timeline of all the young ones. They're younger and they got their faster and stuff. So I'm shooting to be a Masters and to compete in the games. That's what I'm shooting for. I would say come and do it. You look at the words, CrossFit forging the elite, and those words are scary for a big fat person. Like you look at that and you're like, no way, I can't be that person. But that's totally not true. Because if I can sit here and tell you that at 270 pounds, I came in here and just came every day, being consistent and not giving up on yourself, you can do it.